Are we rolling? Why do my eyes look closed? Okay, we're rolling. I've gone back to drinking normal milk for a while, and oh my god, it tastes different. It tastes like a milkshake, but it's a coffee. Quite like it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well. So today's video, I thought I would do something a little bit different. You guys know that after living in Singapore for 8 years, I've talked a lot about culture shocks, but since I'm currently in Bali, I thought it'd be fun to do another culture shock video, but Indonesia versus Singapore, in particular Bali, because that's where I am right now. Things are definitely a lot different here from city life back in Singapore, so I wanted to talk to you guys about those today. But yeah, before we get started, be sure to like the video because it really helps me out. Subscribe so you can see more videos from me, and let's go ahead and get started. The first one, a lot of people have been asking me on Instagram. By the way, you can follow me on Instagram at Vintage Vision, but lots of you were asking me about how easy it is for pedestrians to get around in Bali, and that is something I want to touch on because obviously in Singapore it's very easy to walk everywhere. Like, there's always paths set out for pedestrians, there's lots of walkways, and it's just a very easy city to walk around. But in Bali you just don't really have that. I'm specifically in Canggu, and paths just aren't really a thing. Like, there's nothing really there in terms of paths for pedestrians to use, which means that everyone just kind of uses motorbikes mainly. That is the main form of transport here, renting a scooter. So you do see some people walking along the shortcuts, and I always like cringe when I drive through the shortcut and I see pedestrians, because it's not a safe place for pedestrians to be walking, because they're on a main road and there's like really nowhere for them to walk safely. Yeah, that's something that is definitely a bit of a culture shock, although I am very lucky in the sense that I live like on a road in the middle of the rice paddies, which means that this road is okay for walking on, and I'm like a 2-minute walking distance to the beach, so I walk to the beach most evenings, which I'm very grateful for. But kind of if you want to walk here, the best place to walk is along the beach. That means that I haven't really been getting in my steps, and it's something that I noticed because like you are constantly driving around on a scooter, and then you realize like I really haven't been doing much walking, so I've been making a conscious effort to try and walk either in the mornings or the evenings, because you still got to get those 10k steps in. Another quick one is customer service. Now, you know, your girl had an issue with customer service in Singapore. I have always had an issue with it. It's something that has always, just like disappointed me about Singapore, is that there's a real lack of customer service. If you've been there or you live there, you know what I'm talking about. Now in Bali, it is just the complete opposite, which I am so thankful for. It's just so nice to be like go to a coffee shop and just be served with a smile. Like, everyone here is so smiley, so friendly, they make conversation. Even like gojek delivery drivers, they're super friendly as well. Everything is kind of done with this sense of pride for their job. And I think in general Balinese people are just lovely. Like, someone said the other day that might be a little factor, I don't know if it's true, but because they believe in karma on the island, apparently like they believe like what goes around comes around. So if you treat people nicely, whatever, then that comes back to you, and maybe that's an element of it as well. But it is something that I love about this island. So yeah, it's also just something I really wish that Singapore would improve on, because it really makes such a difference. Like, it really changes your mood as well. I remember in Singapore it would put me in a bad mood a lot of the time if I'd be served, and like I'd be lucky if I got a hello or a goodbye some of the times that I'd be served in Singapore, and I'd be like, it's really not that hard just to say hello or thank you or how are you. I don't know, I'm rambling, but I'm very passionate about customer service, clearly. Something else I wanted to touch on is like work-life difference for foreigners. Let's talk specifically for foreigners here. Most people that work here, that are living here abroad, are like digital nomads. So digital nomads is just like a massive thing in Bali, where most people, like if you go to a cafe, everyone is working remotely, they're on their laptops, and they have the ability to kind of work from anywhere they want, I think. And yeah, that's something that's very different to Singapore, where actually being self-employed is quite I think it's quite rare in Singapore. I think it's something that's slowly changing, but I think a lot of the time people go straight into like a full-time job, like a corporate job, or yeah, an office job. I mean, it is the city, it is the central business hub, so it does make sense. But yeah, there's a real stark difference between like city corporate life and Bali, like digital nomad life. I mean, lucky for me, it works out perfectly because I do have the ability to work from wherever, so I'm very lucky in that sense. And it's quite nice to have people around me that are kind of in the same situation, like-minded kind of people. On the subject of having your own business, I just want to say a quick thank you to today's video sponsor, which is Osome. You guys know I've spoken about them before, but if you are looking to open up your own business in Singapore, then I highly recommend that you check out Osome. They are the company that I used to open and run my business in Singapore, and hopefully you'll find them helpful as well. Obviously, benefits of starting a company in Singapore is that they have a robust economy, a rational tax system with low tax rates. They also have a really efficient process for incorporating and running your own company. To start a successful company, you really need to ensure that you have a great team behind you, which is why I highly recommend Osome. So lucky for us, Osome are the experts in managing your company's compliance and business accounts. So that means that you don't have to worry about filing your company's reports and paying your taxes on time. Osome will take care of all your administrative finance, which is honestly a godsend. They take care of all of your administrative paperwork and your finance, and everything is done through the Osome app, which makes it super easy, hassle-free. You can use their app to send and receive invoices, manage your finances, track your payments, and it's just super easy because everything is in one place. Trust me, it's a weight off my shoulders to leave all that kind of stuff to the people who know what they're actually doing, and then it gives me more time to actually focus on building my brand. So if you are also looking to set up your own business, you can go ahead and click the link in my description box below. That will get you 8% off of your first year of corporate secretary and accounting. Trust me, it's worth it. It's honestly a game changer. I used to get super overwhelmed with this whole business stuff, and it can be made out to be really difficult, but actually it's really not, and Osome have been amazing for that, so do be sure to go check them out. Okay, let's move swiftly on to my next point. We knew this was coming. Let's talk about street harassment. Ooh, I've lived in Singapore for such a long time that I got so used to living in one of the safest countries in the world, where I was never harassed by men, and I could walk alone at night, I could run alone at night and never have any worries. I'm not saying that Bali is dangerous, because I really don't think that it is. Like, I know a lot of Singaporeans keep asking me like, is it safe, is it safe? And genuinely I feel like safe here. I don't, like, obviously there's going to be some bad people, there's bad people everywhere, but generally I feel really safe here. But the only thing that I have really noticed a difference in is that the catcalling, the kind of street harassment has started again. When I'm on my own, definitely have been like shouted at by like builders, like construction workers, and like whistling at me and that kind of thing, and it does make me feel really uncomfortable. And obviously, like, growing up in the UK, I am used to that. It's not to say that it's right. I still think it's freaking annoying that women have to deal with it, but it kind of brings me back to that feeling again. So I was like, okay, here we go again. If I want to run at night, everyone stares, and it makes me feel really uncomfortable, but it's something I'm just kind of having to deal with here. In Singapore, I just didn't really get that. Like, everyone just kind of kept to themselves. I was never catcalled in Singapore, which I loved. That's not to say I didn't get weird comments online, because I got a lot of weird comments online, but in person I don't think Singaporeans would ever really say it to my face, because they're a bit more reserved. But in Bali, yeah, I don't think they really mind. So that's something that I'm getting used to. Definitely a bit of a culture shock. Okay, an obvious one is just the ability to be able to travel around. Singapore is such a tiny country that you can't really go anywhere new. You can travel from one side of Singapore to the other in like an hour. But it's really lovely to be in a country where there's places to explore, and I can travel and I can go on road trips, and like, that is really nice. I do really enjoy that. Unfortunately, I've been so sick on most weekends that I haven't really been able to do that yet. But I have a list of places in Bali that I want to tick off my travel list, and I'm really excited to do that. So yeah, the ability to travel around and have like different experiences, that's something that I really like. Okay, the next one is food options. We have things here called warong, which is like a hawker center equivalent, like cheaper local food. Absolutely love them, great. The other thing is that generally like food is just healthier in Bali. There's so many incredible food options. If you've been here before, you know that the food is just amazing. In Singapore, I'm gonna be honest, I would eat so badly in Singapore. I would just eat shit. And if you go on Grab or Food Panda or whatever, generally there's never any healthy options. So like if I couldn't be bothered to cook, I would order something, but it would always be like fast food. There just isn't really like cheap healthy options. But in Bali there are so many, and I just feel like I'm eating just better in general. Like I'm just eating better food, getting like more nutritious food for a better price as well. So that's something that I love. Like I really do appreciate food options here. That's not to say that I don't miss Hainanese curry, because let me tell you, I am going back to Singapore next week, and the first place I'm running to is Beach Road scissor cut rice, because I miss it so much. Let's talk about weather really quickly, because I know talking about the weather is really boring, and I feel like I'm just getting like, it's just a sign of age when you keep talking about the weather. But I do feel like there are way more blue sky sunny days in Bali than there are in Singapore. I said it. I just feel like there is. In Singapore, like it's hot all the time, but there are lots of overcast days and there are lots of rainy days. But in Bali, I feel like we have so many more just like straight blue sky days, like just all the way through, just like beautiful days. Let me know what you think. I think I'm right. I think I'm right. Okay, the last one I want to talk about is Grabs and taxis here. Just like public transport costs, I guess, prices in general. Obviously there's no MRT system here. There's no trains, there's no buses in Bali, as far as I know. So everyone gets gojeks, or you drive your own scooter. Prices of gojeks, I am absolutely loving. It costs like the equivalent of $1 to $2 to get a motorbike taxi to go somewhere. And we all know Grab prices in Singapore have just absolutely skyrocketed, so really been enjoying that. Like it's just much easier to get around, it's much more cost efficient to get around, and compared to Singapore, I'm definitely spending way less money on taxis and things like that. I will say, do not rent a motorbike if you don't feel confident doing it. I personally don't drive a motorbike because I am pretty scared. And I don't think Bali is somewhere where you should learn to ride a bike, because like there are a lot of bad drivers around, dodgy drivers. A lot of tourists come here not knowing how to drive properly, and they get into a lot of accidents, and you wouldn't want to take that risk. So if you're wondering what kind of public transport you can use, I would just say do Gojek motorbike. So you just hop on the back of the motorbike and the Gojek driver takes you to wherever you want, or you can rent a car, but a car will be a lot slower because the roads are just flooded with motorbikes. So I feel like getting around in a car is a lot slower. But that is what I used to do when I used to come on previous holidays to Bali. We would always like just hire a driver to take us around. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna end the video there. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below, what are your thoughts, Singapore versus Indonesia? Do you have any comparisons, observations? I always love to hear them. So yeah, do give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. Check out Osome, links in the description box below. And I will see you guys very soon in Singapore. I'll be in Singapore very soon and I'm gonna vlog it. Okay, bye.